The signal everyone misread. It was there early, quiet, easy to dismiss. A signal that didn't look like a warning, just noise around the edges. And because it didn't match expectation, it was misunderstood from the start. This matters today because disruption rarely announces itself clearly. The earliest signals almost never resemble the threat they become. They arrive incomplete, inconvenient, and easy to explain away. The cost is not missing them. It's misreading them. The billionaire at the center of this story believed deeply in pattern recognition. Years of experience had trained them to identify trends before others noticed. Signals were analyzed carefully, filtered through models built from past success. That confidence was earned. The reveal began with something small, a shift in behavior among a niche group, an unexpected preference, a use case that felt marginal and unprofitable. Analysts flagged it not as risk, but as anomaly, interesting but not relevant. The signal didn't match existing frameworks. It didn't scale. It didn't monetize cleanly. It didn't resemble prior breakthroughs. So it was labeled experimental noise. The billionaire reviewed the briefing and agreed. The signal lacked urgency. It conflicted with what the data usually showed. The core metrics remained strong. The empire stayed focused on what mattered. The reveal deepened as the signal repeated, not loudly, consistently. Each time, it appeared slightly different. New context, new users, still small, still awkward, still easy to rationalize. Analysts updated slides. The conclusion remained the same. Too early, too niche, too uncertain. The billionaire felt no alarm. Experience suggested patience. Real trends look obvious. In hindsight, they thought, this one didn't. That assumption became the misread, because early signals don't look important. They look wrong. The conflict began forming when the signal started attracting attention outside the empire. Small competitors experimented openly. Communities formed around behavior. Adoption spread informally, without structure or revenue. The empire observed calmly. No threat yet. No urgency. No reason to divert focus. But misreading a signal doesn't stop it from growing. It just delays understanding. The billionaire sensed a faint unease, not fear, but curiosity restrained by discipline. The models still held. The forecast still worked. The signal remained explainable as fringe, until it didn't. The misread was not about ignoring the signal. It was about interpreting it through the wrong lens. And once a signal is framed incorrectly, every new data point reinforces a mistake, until meaning finally changes faster than interpretation can catch up. The conflict was approaching quietly, because the most dangerous signals are not the ones we miss. They are the ones we think we understand and get completely wrong. The misreading continued because it felt rational. Each new appearance of the signal was explained using familiar logic. Analysts compared it to past false starts. Leaders referenced earlier trends that flared briefly, then vanished. The conclusion felt measured, experienced, and calm. The reveal deepened as the signal began to change shape. It stopped appearing in isolation. It showed up across different segments, different regions, different use cases. Still small, still fragmented, but no longer singular. The signal was evolving, and that evolution didn't fit the original explanation. The empire adjusted its interpretation without changing its conclusion. Yes, it's spreading, but it's still not meaningful. Not yet. The billionaire trusted this framing. Experience had taught them that scale precedes relevance. Without scale, there is no urgency. Without urgency, patience is wisdom. But the signal wasn't trying to scale traditionally. It was spreading sideways. Communities formed before products. Behavior changed before monetization. Adoption preceded infrastructure. The models didn't capture this order of operations. The conflict sharpened when external narratives began forming. Media coverage framed behavior as cultural rather than commercial. Analysts outside the empire speculated about long-term implications without concrete numbers. The empire dismissed this as hype. Numbers still favored the core. Revenue still flowed. Forecasts still held. The billionaire felt the comfort of confirmation. But confirmation bias doesn't require ignorance. It only requires consistency. The signal was being measured against the wrong success criteria. It didn't aim to compete with the empire's strengths. It aimed to redefine what strength looked like. The emotional tension surfaced when a pilot project attempted to explore the signal internally. The results were ambiguous. Engagement was high, monetization unclear. The initiative stalled, not because it failed, but because it didn't answer the questions leadership wanted answered. The signal was asking a different question entirely. The conflict was no longer about whether the signal was real. It was about whether the empire could reinterpret it before it matured into something that no longer needed interpretation, only response. Because once signals become obvious, they stop being signals. They become realities. And realities don't wait for anyone to update their models. The misread was still correct, according to old rules, but the world was quietly changing the rules themselves. The conflict reached its peak when the signal finally crossed a threshold the empire could no longer ignore. It didn't arrive as a dramatic surge. It arrived as normalization. What was once fringe became familiar. What was once experimental became expected. And by then, the interpretation was already outdated. The billionaire felt the shift during a routine review. The numbers still looked manageable, but the narrative had changed. Customers spoke differently. Language shifted. Expectations evolved. The signal had stopped asking to be noticed. It was shaping behavior. The empire reacted quickly, but within the old frame. Features were added, offerings adjusted, messaging updated. The response was competent, well-funded, and late. The emotional peak arrived with a quiet realization. The signal had not been small. It had been early, and early looks weak when judged by mature standards. Competitors who embraced it early didn't win because they were smarter. They won because they listened differently. They didn't ask whether the signal fit existing models. They asked what new model the signal required. The billionaire saw the mistake clearly now. The signal was never about revenue. It was about identity. It changed how people related to the product, how they defined value, how they behaved when no one was optimizing them. By the time the empire understood that, the signal had already grown roots. Communities had formed. Habits had solidified. Loyalty had shifted. What once could have been shaped now had to be chased. The conflict crystallized into regret, not of ignorance, but of interpretation. The empire had seen the signal, studied it, tracked it, and still misunderstood it. Because experience teaches you how to recognize patterns, but it can also blind you to new ones. The billionaire faced a difficult truth. Signals do not announce what they will become. They only reveal how they begin. And when beginnings are judged by endings, the future is always underestimated. The next move would not undo the misread, but it would determine whether the empire could still adapt, or whether the signal everyone misread would continue shaping a world where the old interpretations no longer applied. The climax arrived when the billionaire accepted that the mistake was not delay, but framing. The signal had been observed on time. It had simply been understood too late. And understanding, not awareness, is what determines readiness. The response shifted. Instead of forcing the signal into existing models, the empire built new ones around it. Small, independent teams were given permission to explore without legacy metrics. Success was defined by learning, not immediate scale. The signal was treated as a new language, not a broken version of the old one. The resolution unfolded through humility. The empire stopped trying to catch up by imitation. It began adapting by listening. Communities were studied before products. Behavior was mapped before monetization. The organization accepted that relevance would come before revenue, or not at all. The billionaire reflected on the lesson with clarity earned through misreading. Signals don't arrive to confirm what we know. They arrive to challenge how we know. Experience helps you notice patterns. Wisdom helps you question the lens. By changing the lens, the empire regained the ability to learn, even from signals it once misunderstood. It would never fully reclaim the advantage of being first, but it could avoid being last, because the future doesn't punish those who miss signals. It punishes those who insist on understanding them in the wrong way. And when leaders learn to listen beyond their models, signals stop being threats. They become invitations. Subscribe to join the journey. The